Hello there folks, it is TIJ and welcome to a Football Manager 2019 team guide. Today we're going to be starting with Manchester City and we're going to be going through City's squad, transfers, dynamics and as well as the new two features which are training and tactics, and also looking at some transfers that Man City could potentially make to bolster their squad, which may I add is very tricky to do. If you want to seeing more of this on the channel, make sure to subscribe for 19 more team guides with all the other Premier League teams coming out in the next few days through the FM19 beta piece. Let's get straight into it. So, let's have a look at the squad first off. You have to say that Man City has got one of the best squads, if not the best squad in the league. It obviously won the league last year and has got players the likes of Vincent Kompany. Their attacking prowess, just look at the players down from Silva. We've got Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Riyad Mahrez, Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané, Sergio Aguero and Gabriel Jesus. Just look at their cumulative value. I don't want to count that up, but that's surely in excess of £400 million, which is quite scary. So I don't think there's really much to be done with this squad, but I have to say that is a fantastic squad. But crucially, if we look at dynamics, which is very important again this year, it was introduced into Football Manager last year, but this year it is also important. We've got three team leaders at Manchester City when you start the game. They are David Silva, Vincent Kompany and Sergio Aguero. Now, Kompany is very much the core team leader as the captain. Aguero is part of the secondary social group and Silva is also part of that social group. So interestingly, Silva and Aguero don't quite fit in to the core social group, but there's still some influential players in that secondary social group. We've got Riyad Mahrez, Fernandinho, Bravo, Walker and Stones. That's an interesting thing to take into account. Also, another thing to take into account is that David Silva and Kompany, both of the team leaders, obviously if you don't include Aguero, are both approaching the end of their careers. And if they retire soon, we will sorely miss their leadership. And you have to say, who is going to step up? That's the question. Is it going to be Fernandinho? Is it going to be De Bruyne? Potentially, out of the players who are highly influential, the 3 or 4 you'd want to keep are De Bruyne, Sterling and Kyle Walker. But if you look at the future, David Silva is 32 years old now. He's still an absolutely fantastic player. Obviously, as you can see, with the 4.5-star current ability, which is quite amazing. And also Vincent Kompany with the 3.5-star current ability. But bear in mind that Kompany is very injury prone. But those two will have to be replaced if you're looking for a long-term save here at City. But the building blocks are very much in place already here if you want to make a success in the short term. Now, looking at tactics, I've come up with the tiki-taka tactical style. There's a few tactical styles in this game this year, and there's also custom styles that you can add. But I thought that the tiki-taka might work. We've changed a few of the player instructions and a few of the player roles. For example, Danilo's gone to a wing-back, and we've changed David Silva and Gundogan to some of their preferred roles. But a 4-1-4-1 looks very tidy in the squad. Bear in mind that we've got Sterling on holiday at the moment, we've got Kyle Walker on holiday, and Kevin De Bruyne, who's injured and also on holiday. Just bear in mind that these three, Walker, De Bruyne and Sterling, all got to the last 4 of the World Cup, and therefore are going to be quite tired, to say the least. So basically what you've got to just try and do is try and get those players and transition those players into the squad, and potentially they may miss the start of the Premier League season, which is all good because you've got plenty good replacements for those players. You've got Danilo on right back. You've got plenty of midfield and attacking options also to replace De Bruyne and Sterling. But in an ideal world, we probably have De Bruyne replacing Gundogan, and De Bruyne could possibly play as an attacking midfielder, or even a Mazzala, and Sterling would perhaps replace Silva or Sané. But obviously, this is very much rotational options. In an ideal world, that might be the team with Kyle Walker at right back. But a tiki-taka gives the opportunity for players to do a bit of shorter passing out of the defence. I'd pretty much trust Kompany and Laporte to be solid at the back. With ball-playing defenders, Ederson playing as a bit of a ball-playing goalkeeper as well. Fairly narrow, so as you can see, we've got the narrowness there, but in possession, we can go a little bit wide if we need to. But if we look in possession, we can always go and hit early crosses into Aguero and change the premise of the tiki-taka a little bit, just to change things up and see what will work. Because just bear in mind that in this tactic, we've only got one striker. If we take the defensive midfielder out and put another striker in, we have got more attacking options, obviously. But the danger then is that there's no option in that defensive midfield. As it says there, the decision to operate without anyone in the defensive midfield position will result in less direct cover for the defence. And the problem is, if we've got tiki-taka going on, that will very much involve these 6 players here, not necessarily the wingers, because they're part of the attacking unit. So it might be a risk to take a defensive midfielder out, but you might want to do that just to get an attacker in. But just bear in mind what the developers said of Football Manager when they released the game. Bear in mind that if you go for a style, perhaps, I don't know, a wing player or a route one, and you pick the wrong players and you've picked it for the wrong club, then it could go disastrously wrong. Don't get me wrong, a tiki-taka might go wrong, but that's the style that I think might work for you. So in terms of training, we need to look first, before looking at the training, just bearing in mind who you're going to be looking at for players who are going to be working hard in training, those that you might have to give a bit, well, cut a bit of slack to, and those that you need to get working hard. As you can see, we've got Fabian Delph, Otamendi and Fernandinho, all three of them, not both, the three of them with 18 work rate, and we've got Silva and Mangala, but we've got a lot of players above 15 work rate, which is really encouraging. But we have got a few down here, not much to worry about, but new signing Riyad Mahrez, who's joined 60 million. He's the only new signing at Man City for 60 million, a lot of money that is. And he's got some very good stats, but his work rate is quite poor, so expect perhaps some poor performances from Riyad in training. Now, really, the training performance here shouldn't really be too much of a bother because we've only just started the save. But over time, you might see that the likes of Mahrez might not be pulling his weight, and I'm sure you can interact with the player because you can criticise his conduct. And yeah, rethink the way you've been behaving or anything like that. I've only just got the game myself, so I'm sure you'll learn as you get into the game what to do with players who aren't pulling their weight in training. But on to transfers now. We've pretty much covered everything else, but if we look at transfers, City is a really tricky one to get transfers for, because if we look at that team report, if we look at the squad depth, just look, wow. Just look at some of them players. Mikel Arteta is the assistant manager who's assessing this squad. But in a 4-2-2 formation, there is really no room for error. You could argue that there's only 2 strikers at the club. You could argue that, but 2 very good strikers they are. But the scouting team have decided to make 5 recommendations. Apparently Alexander-Arnold is one that Rob Newman recommends on previous knowledge. Now, Alexander-Arnold will be an interesting one to sign and could potentially become better than Kyle Walker in the future. But Danilo is 27 and Kyle Walker is 28. So you've got plenty of cover there for the next few years. But if you wanted to sign someone a little bit younger, then Alexander-Arnold would be a very good signing before his value massively increased, which is inevitable to happen in FM19. Eden Hazard would also be an interesting one. Apparently, his asking price is 259 million, so you might not be able to afford Hazard, but it's interesting to see, with interest from the likes of Real Madrid, whether you could pull Hazard off Chelsea's nose and see whether you could fit him into the squad, whether it be a better replacement for Raheem Sterling on the right or Sane on the left. We don't quite know, but it'd be very interesting to see if you could bring him in, to see what he could do, and even play as a striker. No, he's not really going to play as a striker, is he? Christian Eriksen and Mane are also very good options, but bear in mind that are Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool going to give you players? Possibly not, but the players that are available on the transfer list is quite poor, to be honest, at the start. The player with the most value is Victor Moses, and do you really want Moses? Not particularly. You don't really need it. So Man City is a very tricky one in terms of transfers to recommend for you guys. But let me down in the comments what you guys think transfers should be at Man City. Whether you just should keep it as it is and maybe do a challenge to see how you get on at Man City with no transfers. That would certainly be interesting. And if you do anything like that, let me down in the comments. But just a review of what we spoke about in this video. The squad at Man City is absolutely fantastic. There's not much to improve. But you've got to bear in mind that these team leaders have got to be kept happy. So Silva, Kompany and Aguero want to be in the team week in, week out. But to be honest, Aguero at the peak of his career should be getting into the team anyway every week. And Kompany and Silva are also pretty much staples in the squad. Bear in mind that the likes of Danilo and Laporte have only just joined the club. So just bear in mind that perhaps they might not be able to get into a social group yet. So just give them a little bit of time and they will become more influential. Of course, in different people's saves, the influence of players will change depending on when they play, where they play, and how they fit into the social groups. If they're not very happy, then their influence might go down. But just bear in mind that you want to keep these 3 happy, with Silva being your vice-captain, Kompany being your captain, and Aguero possibly being the best player in your team, no doubt maybe in the world. They reckon the key player is Kevin De Bruyne. But fair enough, Kevin De Bruyne is another very good player. But bear in mind that Kevin De Bruyne, like real life, is going to be out between 7 weeks and 3 months. So you'll have to cope without De Bruyne for a few months. But at the start of a save, that shouldn't be too bad. You've got David Silva and Fernandinho. And you've also got Bernardo Silva, who can play there quite easily. In terms of transfers, it's really tricky to see what we can suggest. They're bringing in Gavin Bazunu from Shamrock Rovers. That's a bit of a weird signing. But nonetheless, he's coming in from Shamrock Rovers. But I'm sure you guys want to make a little bit more difference. The transfer budget is 56 million. So let's see what we can get for that. If we go to players that are maximum worth of, let's say, 50 million. If we scroll down the list, there's some very tasty players in here. 46 million, Henrik Mkhitaryan, not looking too good, but perhaps Dele Alli could be one you could go for. But again, a lot of these players that are the likes of 40 million, particularly if Man City come sniffing, are going to be asking a lot more than you might suggest. And Alexandre Lacazette could be an interesting one, but for City, it is really hard to suggest because they've just got the well-rounded squad, and I wouldn't say they've got any weakness anywhere. So we've gone through the squad, we've gone through transfers, we've gone through dynamics, we've gone through the training, and we've also gone through tactics. We'll have a quick look at training though before we do go. This week we're doing some pre-season light training, and I'd probably leave this to your assistant, and training's not something I can really advise you on too much because I've only just got the game, and I don't quite get the training myself at the moment. But let me know how you guys get on with Man City, because it's a good save to do, but also a very tricky one at the same time, because do you sign new players? Do you try and change the system? Or do you just continue the good work the likes of Guardiola have been done? Let me know in the comments how you get on with Man City. I hope you guys have enjoyed this FM19 team guide. Feel free to go on the channel and have a look in the playlist. There'll be plenty of others for all the 19 Premier League clubs, depending on when you look in that playlist. It's going to be the first one coming out. There's going to be 3 more today coming out. They should be Liverpool, Man United and Arsenal. I'm making that up. It could be any other team in the Premier League, but it'll be 3 others of the top 6. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. I've been TIJ, and I'll see you guys in the next video of mine you watch. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.